like I said, it all went our way. Not thinking a whole lot about the wild card because I just think there's far too much racing left to go, and really just our focus is great to get that win. That definitely gives us a shot at it, but now we got to come here and focus on getting the job done. Here in the next 4 weeks, and if we do our jobs right, I think we can make it in.
Okay, we'll take questions for Jeff. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start up front with Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from SBNation.com. As far as keeping your team together, I mean, I know you had said several times that, it didn't really necessarily benefit you to get frustrated, especially publicly. But how about the team and keeping their spirits up and being resilient? How have you been able to do that as the leader of the team?
Well, the good thing is that, I think what Alan and I have had coming into the crew chief driver combination, that happened at the beginning of last year, was that we always kind of seem to be on the same page. We get along really well, and we've been able to build that. Certainly helped last year getting the 3 wins and being as competitive as we were, but over the off season, we just made a commitment to one another that we're after the same goals. We enjoy working with one another and believe in one another, through thick and thin. And we might have had a couple glasses of wine while that conversation was happening, but we meant what we said. And certainly at that point we didn't realize we were going to be challenged quite the way we have been this year. And there have been times where I could see sometimes when things aren't going your way, you start to question, well, is this a test that we have to pass, or is this a sign of that this isn't the right combination? And that is sometimes the most frustrating thing is does a change need to happen, or are we doing the right things and we just got to stick with it? And I think if we hadn't performed as well as we have this year, where we've had really fast race cars, I think there probably would have been a change. But because we've run so well, and it's been different things keeping us from getting to victory lane or having better results, it's not just been one thing, then it allowed us to, be frustrated and at times, show our frustration towards one another behind closed doors, but still stick together. On Monday or maybe Tuesday, some weekends, depend on how it went. It was right back to business and right back to positive attitudes, and we've got this lined up for this coming up race, and that's what's kept us together. And sometimes it was Alan's whether it be pep talk or attitude to the pit crew or to the guys in the shop or to me, and then other times it was me kind of needing to do that for him when maybe he was feeling a little bit down about something. So that's what makes a great combination, and right now I look at it and go, I'm glad some of these things have happened to us.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Chuck, then go to Melinda.
Jeff, Chuck Howard, NASCAR Media Group. I'd have to think your confidence is going to be sky high, of course, with your success here at Watkins. Then we've got 2 tracks looming on the horizon, Michigan and Bristol, where we all know what you've done there. If you would, what have your thoughts been on the Michigan repave, and what do you anticipate at Bristol with whatever they did there?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I am very optimistic and excited about this weekend, but just because we won here however many years ago it was, doesn't mean that my confidence is sky high here, because I don't feel like we've been good enough to win here in recent years. But that confidence definitely got a big boost in Sonoma and our road course test that we did in Road Atlanta prior to Sonoma. And I feel like we have made some big gains that is definitely going to help my confidence here. Michigan is a total repave, so everything we've done in the past other than the last race is pretty much out the window there as well. I felt like we were pretty solid there at the last race, and I feel like we learned a lot of things. And obviously, our teammates were fast, and Junior won, and so we can certainly care a lot from that. And then we also did the tire test, which it didn't go spectacular for us, but we knew it was more just a test and trying to learn things. So I'm very excited about Bristol, and I feel like there's not a track coming up that I feel like we are concerned with. Qualifying is a priority for us. We got to qualify better. We've been qualifying better up until Pocono last week, and even there I felt like we had a top 10 car if I hadn't have pushed it quite so hard. So that's good, and we got to keep that up and even get better with the qualifying. And then I'm excited about Bristol for sure. I mean, we've run really strong at Bristol the last 2 or 3 times we've been there. And that's been a change, for us. We struggled at Bristol prior to that, and we really turned the corner there, and I can't wait to get back there. We had that issue with me and Junior getting together and cutting the left rear tire the last time we were there, and so we look forward to going there. And Richmond, I'm a little concerned with because we ran really bad there the last time, and we've been so good there. So hopefully we learned what not to do at Richmond, and so that's it's kind of the way we're looking at it is just one race at a time, but certainly thinking about what we can do better and what we've learned on the things that we've done not so good, and stay solid over these next 5 weeks and put ourselves in position to hopefully get a win.
Okay, we'll take our next one from Melinda, then come up to Jim.
Melinda Adams, ESPN. Just wondering if you could speak to why you think Hendrick has been so dominant last 7 wins. Hendrick cars in victory lane a lot.
Hard work, dedication, great engineers. We're just a great organization, and I think not getting a championship last year. I think that our team, the 24 team, we came into the chase last year with so much hope, and then went through the chase and didn't have a good chase, but yet we ended the season strong at Homestead, and I think just the fact that Hendrick wasn't as strong in the chase last year as we've been in the past as a company, and that's motivation, and I think we also got a chance because of our relationship with Stuart Haas to see some things that they were doing, that worked so well for them in the chase, and that's what makes a good. I look at that as a business relationship, but when you're sharing engineering, that's one of the best ones you could have when you have a group that is getting support from you, and yet you can get something back from them as well, and I feel like we took a little bit of that and a little bit of what we've been learning, and started the season off not great, but with some things to try, and we've just been building on it. And we've got 4 incredible drivers and crew chiefs and teams right now that all are contributing in our meetings, and that can get you a long ways. If you're behind, it can get you back. If you're kind of even, it can get you ahead, and I feel like that's where we're at right now.
Go ahead, Jim.
If you were a chase driver not named Jeff Gordon, would you be really worried about Jeff Gordon getting into the chase at this point?
I think there's other guys they'd be more worried about. Jimmy Johnson's the guy you got to worry about, I think, right now, and Dale Jr. I think that Junior has not maybe led as many laps or won as many races as Jimmy, but yet there's a reason why they're where they're at in the points. They've been consistently up front, every weekend, and they're rock solid. So you got to look at Hendrick as a whole. I think right now, I think any Hendrick team, but hard to kind of not be a little nervous about Jimmy Johnson, Chad Knaus, and that 48 team right now is as dominant as they've been and as strong as they've been. You get them in the chase with that kind of performance, and I would think they'd be at the top of the list of anybody's worry list.
All right, go ahead, Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Just to follow up on what you said about Stewart Haas and that relationship, has that changed any with the departure of Darian being replaced by Steve Addington, given Darian's long history at Hendrick?
We definitely had a very a good relationship with Darian when he went over there. It was kind of a mutually agreed upon situation that was a positive for everybody. We don't have them in our meetings on Tuesday as often as they used to be. So in some ways, yes, but it's still an open book. And when we, need to reach out to them, they're great. And when they need to reach out to us, we're just as open. But they are not involved in our meetings as much as I'd actually like them to be as much as they were last year. That's true.
Okay, go ahead with your question.
Since you've been in the Cup Series, just how have you seen road racing evolve from the time you started till now?
Well, it's evolved from, one is the competition just getting better, smarter, and putting more emphasis on road courses. There was a time when a lot of guys would guys that were championship caliber teams would sort of say, okay, we're going to survive the road course. And now we want to go to a road course, to try to win it. We don't want there to be any track on the circuit that we can't be a factor in or get a good finish in and attack like we would an oval. And so that certainly changed the mindset. And the cars have changed. Aerodynamics have changed. So the pace has picked up. When we went to this new car, it definitely took a little bit away from the performance, but then we brought the aerodynamics back into it to get it back. Just learning how to seal off the front splitter and do the things that we're doing on ovals and figure out how to do them on a road course as well. Bigger rear springs, bigger sway bars and all those types of things that maximize downforce. But we used to be able to offset the cars for a road course to get more right side weight for the right turns. And with this new car, we were not able to do that as much. And so, that's been something we've had to overcome, and it's been a change.
Okay, go ahead. Next
Seems
question.
like brake pads, brake packages have improved too so much that you don't have to worry about saving the brakes as much as you used to.
We'll take our next question from Lee.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. What would be your most bizarre moment here that you can remember in all the years that you've been racing? Because, this place just lends itself to strange kind of things because it's different. And what would be that unique or kind of bizarre moment that you would remember here?
Well, the first one comes to mind is leading the race here and spinning out going into turn one with like 3 or 4 laps to go. Stewart had just done the same thing in front of me. Wheel hopped going into turn one under braking, which was a big issue, that day. And a lot of people were struggling with it. So I watched Tony do it after I, was being conservative into turn one, and he did it. I went by him and got the lead, and I don't know how many laps there were to go, but not many. And he was a little bit better than we were that day. And, I did the same thing that he did, and probably even worse because I lost a lot more positions than he did. And, ended up having a car that was going to finish first or second and finished like 9th or 10th. That was pretty bizarre. The other one was when Biffle got into me going into turn one on lap one. We just got the green and went down in there, and he was a little more aggressive than I was and spun me out. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Edwards can correct us, is that when I also ran out of fuel and got, yeah. So then that same day, on the last lap coming to the checkered, I ran out of fuel and was not very smart because I should just been thinking about getting to the line instead of blocking the Kevin Harvick behind me, and gave him no choice but to spin me out. So I got spun out twice that day. One was not my fault. The second one was. And I don't think I made it across the line because the car had no fuel in it. So that was a pretty bizarre day. We were going to finish, I think, top 5 or 6.